Tonight, fast-tracking the stimulus. The president funnels tax dollars to projects that are ready to go to create or save 600,000 jobs. Stat. I'm Katie Couric. Also tonight, deal delayed. The sale of Chrysler to Fiat is put on hold on orders from Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Angioplasty is one of the most common medical procedures, but a new study says a cheaper alternative is just as effective.
I'm Snow White.
And a cultural milestone, Disney's first Black princess. And the producers take extraordinary steps to get it right.
This is the CBS Evening News with Katie Couric.
Good evening, everyone. It's been nearly 4 months since President Obama signed that $787 billion stimulus into law, and the economy is continuing to hemorrhage jobs. So today, the president gave the plan a jumpstart, putting hundreds of public works projects on the fast track with the goal of creating or saving 600,000 jobs in 100 days. Our chief White House correspondent Chip Reed has the latest.
The president today took credit for keeping the economy out of a tailspin, but said he's still not satisfied with the pace of the recovery.
Now we're in a position to really accelerate.
He said the stimulus, which he claims created 150,000 jobs in the first 100 days, will create 4 times that number of jobs in the second 100 days. There was even a PowerPoint presentation in the briefing room by a White House economist with maps intended to show that job-creating projects are sprouting up all across the nation. The goal is to get as much money as possible into shovel-ready projects fast. For example, the White House says over the next 100 days, work will begin on more than 1,500 highway projects and 98 airports. 5,000 police officers will be hired or protected from layoffs. 125,000 young people will get summer jobs. And work will begin on improvements in the national parks, from Yellowstone to the Statue of Liberty. Administration officials say they used a tried and tested formula for predicting the number of jobs, but critics say it's nothing more than guesswork, all smoke and mirrors.
Instead of talking about 600,000 saved or created jobs, tell us how many jobs you're actually creating and point to them. Show me the guy with the shovel in his hands.
Some congressional Republicans say it's yet another rosy prediction from an administration that said unemployment would level off at 8%. It's now 9.4%. Since the stimulus was signed, the economy has lost 1.5 million jobs.
The administration has a failing plan, and so they want to do it with greater speed. I mean, that's not a recipe for success.
A top administration official today said that despite all that government spending to create jobs, the White House believes the unemployment rate is going to continue to go up, even higher than the sky-high 9.4% that it is now. Katie?
Chip Reed reporting from the White House tonight. Thank you, Chip. Now, getting stimulus money where it can create the most jobs in the shortest amount of time is much more complicated than you may think. The reason? Red tape. Wyatt Andrews has a case in point in Fredericksburg, Virginia.
And weather seal this.
For Bill Beachy, who has weatherized homes for 30 years, the grant of stimulus money was so exciting, he trained 15 new employees in Virginia. Many of them were unemployed construction workers like Chad Miller.
It's helping. I didn't have a job before or nothing.
We're now able to take this to a much higher level to produce 3 to 4 times what we've ever produced.
But then, to his surprise, the weatherization funding stopped, and not just in Virginia. It was put on hold nationwide. Some of the 720 agencies in line to get that money began to borrow, and many put hiring on hold.
It has not been useful in reducing unemployment as quickly as it could.
The irony about this is that weatherization funding was supposed to be one of the fastest job creation programs in the whole stimulus bill.
In fact, last February, the president told Katie Couric one advantage to the $5 billion that he wanted for weatherization was the speed of its impact.
We're going to weatherize homes. That immediately puts people back to work.
But now the reason for the delay is simple bureaucracy. After the stimulus passed, the Department of Energy quickly sent out around 10% of the money, $479 million out of the $5 billion in the program. But to get the rest of the $4.5 billion, states had to submit detailed plans for reporting how they'd spend the money and which groups, like Bill Beachy's, had a good enough track record to do the job. The Department of Energy says this was no slowdown. This was making sure the money is well spent.
We would argue that we needed some time, and the states and the community action agencies also needed some time to get this right.
The president wants stimulus spending to move faster, but he's also told his cabinet to guard against waste. In the rollout of weatherization funds, those two goals were in conflict. Wyatt Andrews, CBS News, Fredericksburg, Virginia.
Another big recipient of your tax dollars, the Chrysler Corporation, now struggling to get out of bankruptcy. Today, the planned sale of Chrysler to the Italian automaker Fiat was put on hold by Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Some of Chrysler's creditors want the court to block the sale. Anthony Mason is our business correspondent. Anthony, this doesn't derail the Chrysler deal entirely, does it?
No, it doesn't, Katie. This is just a temporary hold on the Chrysler sale. It's not legally significant, at least not yet. A lower court had set a 4 p.m. deadline for today, saying if the Supreme Court did not intervene, then the deal could go through. The stay, which was issued right before that deadline, is basically the Supreme Court saying, wait, we just got all this paperwork in this weekend. We need more time to consider this. It's in no way an indication of what the Supreme Court's going to do.
Having said that, the clock is ticking.
Absolutely, because if this deal is not closed by June 15th, which is only a week from today, Fiat does have the right to back out. And Chrysler maintains that if it loses Fiat, then the only alternative for the company would be liquidation.
All right, Anthony Mason, thanks a lot, Anthony. Some other actions today by the full Supreme Court. The justices ruled 5-4 that a judge must step aside from a case when it involves a major contributor to that judge's election and when that would create an appearance of bias. And in another case, the High Court turned down a challenge to the military's Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy. The justices refused to hear the appeal of a former Army captain dismissed after acknowledging he's gay. By the way, Supreme Court nominee Sonia Sotomayor showed up at the Capitol today on crutches. She tripped and broke her ankle at New York's LaGuardia Airport this morning, but still got on the plane and kept her appointments with senators. Turning overseas, tensions between the U.S. and North Korea were already running high over the North's nuclear program. But today, David Martin tells us relations got even more strained and more complicated when a North Korean court sentenced 2 American journalists for trespassing.
The sentence handed down to Laura Ling and Yuna Lee was harsher than expected. 12 years hard labor for the, quote, grave crime of allegedly crossing into North Korea from China.
We are deeply concerned about the length of the sentences and the fact that this trial was conducted totally in secret with no observers.
In the past, captured Americans, this Army helicopter pilot, for instance, have been set free in relatively short order by sending a special envoy like New Mexico Governor Bill Richardson. Secretary of State Clinton is clearly thinking of doing that again.
And we're engaged in all possible ways through every possible channel to secure their release.
Another possible envoy, former Vice President Al Gore, founder of Current TV, the news and entertainment channel for which the 2 women were working. But former Clinton administration negotiator Jack Pritchard, one of the few Americans to actually meet North Korea's ruler Kim Jong-il, makes a very grim prediction.
They're going to hold on to them for quite a while. They may even serve out their term.
That would be a dagger to the heart of Ling's sister Lisa, who before the sentencing made this plea.
All we can say to the government of North Korea is we desperately beg for mercy.
In the past 3 months, the North Koreans have seemed bent on confrontation with the new Obama administration, firing off a long-range missile capable of hitting U.S. territory and testing a nuclear device. Now they appear to be preparing for several more missile launches, including another long-range one from this new launch pad.
At this point, it looks as though they have made their decision. It is to move forward with a full-fledged nuclear weapons program.
The U.S. is counting on diplomacy to pressure and persuade North Korea to abandon nuclear weapons. But the sentencing of the 2 journalists makes diplomacy a lot more complicated. David Martin, CBS News, The Pentagon.
Now, late today, the families of Laura Ling and Yuna Lee put out a statement saying they're shocked and devastated by the outcome of their trial, but they remain hopeful the 2 journalists will be released soon. Still ahead here on the CBS Evening News, recovering the wreckage and remains of Flight 447. The bodies of the victims may hold clues to into what went wrong. But up next, anxiety over angioplasty. Is your hospital ready if the heart procedure goes wrong? In medical news, new doubts about the value of angioplasty. A study out today of diabetics with heart disease found medication alone is just as effective in saving lives. Angioplasties are extremely common in the U.S. Doctors perform more than 1.3 million of them in 2006, sometimes in hospitals that have no backup, though, if there's a problem. Dr. John LaPook has one family story in tonight's Eye on Your Health.
I just had my son.
In 2006, Scott Sullivan's mother, Pearl, went to Holy Name Hospital in Teaneck, New Jersey for a heart test to see what was causing her shortness of breath. She never came home.
I went to the nurse's station and asked, "Where's my mom?" And you could just tell by the look on the nurse's face that my mom's not alive. They punctured the artery, and my mom died because of it.
Have you figured out what happened?
Yeah, I know what happened in my heart. I don't know in doctor terms, but they botched the angiogram, the angioplasty.
During angioplasty, a clogged blood vessel feeding the heart can be opened up with a tiny balloon and a stent placed to keep it from closing. It's a relatively safe procedure, but about 1 in 200 patients dies after non-emergency angioplasty. Pearl Sullivan's family alleges in a lawsuit they did not know the hospital had no on-site cardiac surgical backup to handle the rare cases, about 2 to 3 in 1,000, when something goes wrong and doctors need to operate.
We think that they're equipped to do whatever's necessary, and apparently not.
In the case of Pearl Sullivan, Holy Name says, "We are confident the evidence will show the doctors, staff, and hospital acted appropriately, and that this death was unrelated to the absence of on-site cardiac surgery." 3 prominent cardiology groups say non-emergency angioplasty should only be done with cardiac surgical support on site. So why would a small hospital want to do angioplasty?
Hospitals are competing to establish services which duplicate services right next door, not to the benefit of the population, but to try to preserve their financial margins. We have a medical arms race going on in this country.
Angioplasty is big business. At about $16,000 a procedure, it's a roughly $21 billion a year industry.
Cardiovascular interventional procedures are big money makers for hospitals and for practitioners. And it's tough to walk away from that for a lot of people.
What I'm telling you is that at no time did I ever hear, "We've got to get into the angioplasty business because there's money to be made here."
Dr. Paul Mendelowitz at Holy Name says money is not a motivation.
That was not the driver. I think that the ability to do both emergency and non-emergency angioplasty allows labs to raise their quality because their volumes are higher.
Holy Name performs elective angioplasty without surgical backup as part of a closely supervised study in 45 hospitals, testing whether it's safe.
Why would somebody elect to go to a hospital that doesn't have surgical backup versus one that does?
Because Holy Name is their hospital. And they've been coming here, and maybe their parents came here, and maybe they bring their kids here, and their doctors are here.
Experts say, whether at small hospitals or large, too many people are having angioplasty.
It's markedly overused. Probably 40% of the procedures are unnecessary.
Dr. Elliot Fisher of the Dartmouth Medical School says if people fully understood the risks and benefits of the procedure, fewer people would have it done, let alone at a hospital without surgical backup. Studies show medication can be just as effective as angioplasty in patients who are not showing signs of a heart attack.
I can tell you this. If I needed a heart catheterization and an angioplasty, I'd have it done in a major medical center. I certainly wouldn't have it done in a small community hospital where there was no surgeon, there's no backup.
When it went wrong, what time did it go wrong? For 3 hours, were they playing around in there trying to fix something that they weren't equipped to do? My family needs answers.
Pearl Sullivan signed a consent form, both for the procedure and to participate in the study of angioplasty without surgical backup. But her family doesn't believe she understood what it meant.
And John, you're going to take a look at that tomorrow, right?
Right. Tomorrow we're going to be talking about informed consent and how improving that process not only helps patients, but can save the entire healthcare system billions of dollars, and quickly.
All right, looking forward to that. John, thanks so much. And to find out more about angioplasty, you can go to cbsnews.com and click on our partner for this story, Business Week. When we come back, Air France Flight 447, how the victims may help solve the mystery. Divers searching the Atlantic off the coast of Brazil made an important discovery today, a large section of the tail of Air France Flight 447. Experts say that piece could help determine whether the Airbus 330 had a structural defect, and it may help in the search for the flight recorders, which are housed in the tail section. 228 people were killed when the plane crashed last week on a flight from Rio de Janeiro to Paris. 24 bodies have now been recovered. And as chief investigative correspondent Armin Katayan reports, the remains could also provide valuable clues.
For the families of Flight 447, the recovery of bodies in the waters off the northern coast of Brazil provides a step towards some kind of closure. For investigators, however, the bodies offer something else: enormous information in piecing together the puzzle of a plane crash. Tom Corrigan was a chief investigator into the crash of TWA Flight 800.
They are important pieces to the puzzle, and they have to be examined, and they have to be examined thoroughly.
First, medical examiners will attempt to identify every victim from DNA, photographs, or dental records. Experts will then likely reconstruct the seating chart of the plane, pinpointing each passenger's location, searching for a pattern of injuries or cause of death. Did, for example, the passengers in one section of the Airbus A330 suffer burns, broken bones, or concussions? Autopsies will reveal whether the victims died instantly in the air or drowned in the ocean, helping investigators determine whether the plane blew up, broke apart in the sky, or on impact.
Where they're located in the flight path, if they're in the rear of the flight path, they can be important because they can tell you where the aircraft broke up first.
For example, in TWA 800, the absence of bomb residue on the victims helped rule out a terrorist act. Burn patterns revealing crucial evidence that the plane was brought down by an explosion in the center fuel tank. In the end, those who were lost providing clues to help solve the mystery behind what really happened to Air France Flight 447. Armin Katayan, CBS News, New York.
In other news, high-tech buffs got some of what they wanted at today's Apple Developers Conference. CEO Steve Jobs did not show up. He's been on medical leave since January. But the company did show off its newest iPhone, the 3GS, which Apple says is faster and has more features. The company is also cutting the price of existing iPhones in half to $99. Coming up next, it's a whole new world for Disney. Finally tonight, the internet is buzzing with cheers and some jeers for Disney's new animated star. Michelle Miller reports on why this princess is drawing so much attention.
Magic mirror on the wall, who is the fairest one?
Once upon a time, there was Snow White.
I'm Snow White.
And in 72 years, 6 other Disney princesses followed, including a Native American Pocahontas, an Arab Jasmine, and a Chinese Mulan. Now, for the first time, the fairest of them all will be African American.
Excuse me?
Her name is Tiana, star of The Princess and the Frog. Already making headlines, the pressure's on Disney to get her story right.
Girls of color are among the most invisible people in our country, and I think that for little girls to have this validation is just magnificent.
And this is Ariel again.
Reese Marie Quabi just saw the trailer.
When do you hope it comes out?
I hope it comes out tomorrow.
Her mom, Terry, is just as excited.
I think it's just very important that she understands that a princess can come in any color, shape, size.
With a December release, the movie merchandise, the princess doll, and all of her accessories won't be in stores until October. But already, there's a legion of fans and critics, and they aren't even little girls.
I didn't see that.
I only heard.
Disney's past productions have drawn criticism for racial stereotypes, like The Jungle Book's jive-talking monkeys.
Cool it, boy.
Or The Lion King's streetwise hyenas.
Make mine a Cub sandwich. What you think?
And experts say the message sticks.
Adults don't even really notice these things, and kids don't necessarily talk about them. But they're subtly figuring out that, oh, these are the racial groups.
Tiana isn't immune. Controversy first hit the blogs over her name and her job. She started as Maddie, a maid, and is now a budding chef longing to own her own restaurant. Disney's even vetted the plot with prominent African Americans. But bloggers are now debating Tiana's Brazilian accented prince.
But I just wonder why, with this first African American princess, that they didn't have an African American prince to go along with it.
Kissing would be nice, yes?
Disney says, as with any film, the characters are evolving as the story develops.
And this is a Sleeping Beauty.
For little girls like Reese trying to play the part.
Your mommy says you're a princess?
Yes.
You believe her?
Not really.
Tiana may give them one more reason to believe. Michelle Miller, CBS News, West Orange, New Jersey.
And that is the CBS Evening News. I'm Katie Couric. I'll see you tomorrow. Good night.